Four hosts, they bout to wreck shit like Marco. Addicted to the Giants like it's Netflix and Narcos. The CEO making big moves as per usual. Captain Negative calling everybody delusional. This podcast is number one. Like when you take a piss, so share the link and pass it. Like Big Jamaican spliffs and Mr. Make-A-Wish. The sophisticated click, I spit offensive lines. Now Tim can take a sip of some beer because he likes the taste of it, right? Don't forget the New York Giants beat the Patriots twice. The sickest dudes eating chips and salsa like it's Victor Cruz. Win or lose, always gonna root for Big Blue. It's true. This a classic show. Tyree, catch it, bro. Play a drinking game while you listen and call it Plaxico. Take a couple shots. If it's funny, you can rewind. To bleed blue means it's in their jeans like Levi's. Eli, man in the shit, just like a sailor. Captain, we attacking bum rush like Lawrence Taylor. Podcast on point, the sharpest arrows. BBG stay gritty like Mark Bavaro.
All right, everyone, we are back for another episode. I have Will Presti on with me, and he just alerted me that his friend is sending him text messages in a panic. What do those texts say?
This text message is from a source from Matt Verderami on Twitter, which says, per multiple league sources, the Jaguars are unlikely to let Yannick, last name, test free agency. So, last name, I never know how to pronounce it. Joku, I don't know. Jaku, I don't know.
Ngakwe, or yeah. I
don't
know
there
either.
You go. He is, we'll call him Yannick, and he is kind of the number one free agent edge rusher that a lot of Giants fans want to see. He's 24 years old. He showed a lot of potential. And so, yeah, I mean, look, there are, I think I've mentioned this before, Giants' two biggest needs, at least in my mind, would be offensive tackle and edge rusher. And I think the list that I saw most recently had 7 of the top 18 free agents are edge rushers under the age of 28 or so. Did you just take a rocket ship into space? What the hell was that?
I did. I don't know what the hell that was.
Did you just get really excited when I told? Was that you getting really excited? And I'll leave it at that. When I told you how many edge rushers there were. I love a good edge rusher. I hope people replay that one. Hey, there's a lot of edge rushers.
What was that?
This guy loves football. Was that a slide whistle? What the hell was that?
I have no idea. It's the basement is a cave of mystery. I don't know what that was.
Cave of mysteries. So anyway, that's the news that the Jaguars' young stud D-end is unlikely to come onto the market, but we've got some other prospects, so I don't think we should completely freak out, but he was the one a lot of people were eyeing. Were you eyeing him as well?
Yes, and all hope is not lost because the Jaguars are certainly, if they're not over the cap, they're right near it. Mm-hmm. And to free up space to tag him they're gonna have to make a lot of moves. Okay. They don't necessarily have to make them now. They could tag him and then figure it out before the season starts. But it'll take a lot of adjusting on their part to get something done.
Okay.
So maybe he's posting it on Instagram and Twitter that, picks with LP and all that other stuff. So
this is true. A little cryptic messages. Now I have to ask you something. In my browsing of social media, I believe I saw you write something that I'm going to have to take you to task on. That the Giants can still land a Mr. Chase Young?
Yeah, I believe they can.
Oh, to be you and to have that innocence of life, I wish I can get back to that place where you believe in things like this. Marco, I envy you so much. In what universe do you see the Giants landing Chase Young? What, is everyone else going to forget about it? That he's going to trip on the way to the draft board and just lose their pick? What are you talking about, man?
You're telling me that you've never seen a prospect drop before. You're saying you've never seen that happen.
Did those words come out of my mouth, sir?
No, that did not come out of your mouth.
Okay.
Yes, there is an air of assumption here, and we need a few things to bounce our way. Number one, we need QB-hungry teams, which is a good thing because we always have that.
Do you believe that a non-quarterback will go before Chase Young? Yes or no?
No.
So you are telling me that quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2, 3. I don't know the stats, but probably for the first time in history. It just doesn't happen, man. Herbert's not going to go top 3. Or Fromm or Love, any of these guys. Come on.
So I'm leaning heavily on Peter King, who says,
all right, hit me with the scenario. Is this the Detroit scenario?
Yeah. Multiple teams believe that Washington is going to try to trade down because it would be best for their franchise to pick up a bevy of picks rather than just Chase Young. So so Washington's off the board.
Well, no. Within this theory, if that happens, which I think I'll get to that in a second. Continue the theory.
So then we have Burrow going to Cincinnati.
Right.
Then whoever Washington trades with, Miami, there's a few suitors out there that are looking for quarterbacks. They would take either Tua or they would take Herbert, and Detroit is looking for a quarterback. With Matt Stafford potentially saying, winding down his career, and that leaves the Giants at 4. Is it probable? No. Is that me being a complete homer? Absolutely. But it can happen.
It can happen. Anything can happen. Here are my major issues with it. First of all, I believe that
I'm ready to fact check you. So go ahead. I'm looking it up right now.
Looking what? What are you looking up? What are you talking? There's no fact checks on an opinion.
Oh, okay.
Listen to me. So I feel like a politician recently has probably said something like that. But listen, you better not rip up the transcript of my podcast speech after I'm done with this either.
It's in the shredder already. So
listen, anyone watched the State of the Union last night knows what I'm talking about. So and I'm not taking sides, by the way. So the Redskins, it's a brand new coach. And who else in the front office do they have that's brand new? Is it a GM? They fired someone after a while, and everybody was happy about it.
Right.
It's not Dan Snyder. He's the owner, right?
Right. They officially didn't find a GM. They are GM-less at the moment.
But they have gotten rid of their GM, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they have brought in Ron Rivera, correct?
Yes.
Those guys are the crowd. The DC crowd is so dejected and hungry for a star and a reason to believe, and they are hungry for Chase Young, that even though I think it is probably still the thing they're likely to do, even if they're still just people, and even if Rivera and the GM were iffy on it and thought it might actually be better for the franchise to trade back, I think there is so much going on right now in hype about how they're going to get Chase Young. I think they would, even if they didn't think it was the right move, they might actually capitulate just because they're like, we have to, as our first splash here, we can't pass up on this guy. What if he becomes, I'm not saying I think he is, but what if he becomes the next LT or the next, Aaron Donald or something, or Khalil Mack? They'll never forgive us. So I feel like the pressure is so high that they're all thinking right now. They're probably already about to sell Chase Young jerseys, but I feel like they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't give up the pick. Number two is, who's really, is it possible that a team trades up with them to take Chase Young and not even a quarterback, and then they do a trade up because they think they need the picks, and someone else comes in and takes Chase Young from the Giants anyway? And number three is, would Miami really trade up with them if they don't think Detroit's going to take a quarterback, and the quarterback's going to fall to them anyway? We know the Redskins probably aren't taking one. So I just don't know that I see – I guess – I don't know. It just seems unlikely to me. that's going to happen. I know you're even saying it'll be unlikely. You're just saying it's possible.
Right.
But I don't know.
Why you gotta hurt me like this?
I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want you to be prepared for if it happens. It's like, honey, I know you're off to prom, and I know you want to be prom king, little Marco. Okay. Little Marco. Another political quote from 4 years ago with Rubio, but I just want to let you know, if you don't win, it's like, I want you to have that Oscars clap prepared that we're going to see on Sunday night when people kind of smile. Oh, I didn't win, but I'm happy for Joaquin Phoenix or whatever it is. Okay. So that's all. I'm just trying to take care of you, man. I'm looking out for you.
I don't think it's going to happen. For a quarterback to go number 1, 2, and 3 is rare. It has happened in the past. I just looked it up. It has.
Last time it happened, what are we talking? Jim Thorpe and his brothers?
It's more recent than that. 1999, Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, and McKinley Smith.
Oh, what a class that turned out to be. Let me tell you. I mean, McNabb didn't do much, but the other two, God, they're first ballot.
Yeah.
Yo, you know what the other thing is? Honest to God, and I mean this, Marco. I really mean this. And I think people will think I'm joking about this, and I'm not joking. I'm really not joking. Even if it all lined up perfectly, the stars aligned, and Chase Young dropped to 4, I still think there's a chance, like a 30% chance Gettleman doesn't take him. That's how unpredictable Gettleman is. Because think about it. I know it's different when you need a quarterback.
I hear you.
Is there a human being on earth that was a Giants fan when the Bucks took Devin White at 5 that didn't say, "Holy bleep, we just got Josh Allen"? I mean, that's what everybody said. It was a foregone conclusion. And then he says Daniel Jones. So I think, we could talk a little bit more about what we think they're going to do. I don't know if you want to get into that right now, about what we would do and what we think they're going to do, because that kind of segues in. But Gettleman's a wild card. Gettleman is always going to be a wild card. So that's what I have to say about that. I would put the chances of the Giants landing Chase Young at about 5%.
I'll put it a little higher than that. I'll put it at maybe 10%.
Okay.
But yeah, for reasons like that, I think that the possibility can happen. Did anyone think that, Allen was going to be there at, 5?
No, absolutely did not. When he dropped, I could not believe it. And that's why I'm giving it 5%, because it's like, you never know. Even Jawan Taylor, the number 1 offensive line prospect last year on everybody's board going top 10, he ended up going in the second round.
Right. And then
you just never know.
I remember, well, now he's a Giant, but I remember in, what was it, maybe 5 years ago, with Leonard Williams, people thought he was going to go 2 or 3, and he dropped to the Jets at like 7 or 8 or something like that.
Right,
so
right.
Stuff like that happens.
I mean,
I did send Chase Young a complimentary kit of a bong, some few masks that he could wear, to really put us in the best position to land him. And maybe we'll get a second-round pick out of him,
I am totally – whatever you just said went totally over my head, man. I don't know if I've been watching The Bachelor too much tonight. What are you talking about? A bond and a mask? What are you talking about?
A bond for marijuana. You don't remember – what was it, Larry Tunsil?
Oh, a bong?
Yeah.
I think you said a bond. I was like, what are you, like a U.S. savings bond? What are you talking about?
No, a bong.
You sent him a bong. Yeah, great. So he comes to New York and he pulls a Hakeem Nicks and just smokes and never plays.
Smokes his kneecaps off?
Yeah, jeez. Wait, so, all right, let's get into this a little bit. Who do you – well, one more thing is DJ Metcalf. I had him going 9 last year. I don't even know where he went. Did he go 45 or something to the Seahawks? Where did he go? DK Metcalf. I mean, he was the number 1 receiver on a lot of people's board, and then look what he's doing in the NFL. He's ripping it up. Yeah,
he was third round, I believe, right?
Third round was that late? Was he in the 60s or 70s? It's crazy. But so what do you think? What let's play it. Well, I know you usually come to me with the questions. I was going to say, what would you do and what do you think they're going to do? But where do you want to go with this thing?
I think they're going to go with Simmons, and that's what I would do as well if they don't trade down. But history's shown us that he doesn't trade down. He just takes like that person that he eyes on.
Right.
So I think it's gonna be Simmons, because most likely Young is gonna be gone at 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. I don't know if Detroit would take a quarterback. I could see them doing it.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be Simmons.
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
Other than a trade down.
They have to put some high draft capital in the defensive player. It's been so offensively heavy for the past few years that you have to. And scoring points wasn't the problem. It was stopping people from scoring points.
Mm.
You're not agreeing. You're going with a tackle? Just don't say wide receiver. People are driving me crazy. Go.
You know what? Listen,
don't you do it.
There are 3 people who are the people whose mock drafts I've seen over the past couple of years who I trust the most, or at least they're up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give them some free plugs right now. One is Daniel Jeremiah of, I think, NFL. I think he works for the NFL Network and all that. And I think he's been consistent that they're going to take a tackle, maybe Simmons. You know, the names we're seeing are the tackle, Simmons,
right?
An occasional. Well, I guess FNS is kind of out of the picture now because of the 3-4. But the other 2 is Walter Football and Charlie Campbell. I don't know what Walter's last name is, Shemansky or something like that. And for a while, one of them just switched it up, the offensive line, but they were saying Jerry Jeudy. And these guys are very accurate. And Jerry Jeudy, of course, the receiver from Alabama. And I have to say, I wouldn't take a receiver that early, and all the analytics say not to do it. And my buddy Jack, if he's listening, he says his words are, if they take a receiver, I'm going to off myself, which is kind of a weird thing. I feel like that's what people said, like when the stock market crashed in 29. But so I'm hearing that a little bit. And Jeudy is extremely talented. And when I watch him, I'm not saying he's as good as these guys combined, but his game is sort of a combination of Odell and Julio Jones, and even like a Randy Moss, where he's got, he plays taller and longer than he is. He's got a very good speed, and he's probably the best route runner to come out of college in recent memory. I mean, it looks like he's doing an and one mixtape when he's in the open field, even when he gets the ball. I mean, he does ridiculous things. So very talented, but no, I wouldn't take a receiver that high, even though it would be great to give something like that to Jones. But I think the reason some people are picking him is because they're looking at Gettleman. And as I've said, it's dangerous when you got a guy who's probably in his last year if it doesn't work out. And I'm talking about, with the Giants. And then he's tied to a quarterback. And I just don't know that he's not just going to try to say, hey, it's advantageous for me. If Jones does well, I keep my job. I keep making millions. I look smart instead of dumb. And then he might just say, give him weapons. I mean, that's the reason they could potentially, why maybe people think they would go with a wide receiver like Jerry Jeudy, is because Gettleman wants to make himself look good, and that's a natural human reaction. So let's pad up the offense and give my Daniel Jones a true number 1 receiver. Because right now the Giants receivers, they've got a lot of decent receivers, but not a number 1A guy as of now. For me, after that little ramble, I am not a fan of Isaiah Simmons.
As a player?
Yeah, I don't know him personally.
Or for
we got into a fist fight about a couple minutes ago. I'm not a fan of him anymore.
Yeah. No. Do you mean, I know as a player, but do you mean as a fit for the Giants or just in general?
In general.
In general.
My issue is I don't want a guy who's, and I could be completely wrong here, and I don't know why I've been coming so adamantly against this dude. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be totally wrong. People say, oh, he's like a Troy Polamalu, but even bigger and this and that. But I'm sick of hearing about what a great athlete he is and how he can play 18 different positions. I don't want a guy who's good at 4 positions. I want a guy who's great at 1 position. And when I look at him, the Giants need a corner, the Giants need a safety, the Giants need a linebacker, and the Giants need an edge rusher. I don't think the answer is, well, he can do all 4 of those things, because when you watch him play, he's like tall. He's like 6'4", 225, looks very lean, looks like kind of a jacked wide receiver. And he's very good at guarding at guarding receivers, usually tight ends. He's very good at that, and I cannot downplay that, and that's very important in the modern NFL, especially because tight ends have killed the Giants my entire life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as a real true linebacker, he doesn't really stuff the run that well. He doesn't really take on bodies that well. He lets offensive linemen get in on him, and his blitzes work, but I think it's more about the calls that were made. I don't know if it's necessarily him, and I think a lot of his productivity and highlight reel has to do with how he was used situationally, and it works in college, and they have him in different places lined up, depending on the situation, and he's athletic enough to catch people off guard and make tackles. I just don't know if it's going to translate into the NFL. I think he seems to me like a guy who runs around, he stands up high, people get in on him, and he's fast enough to kind of dive around and make a bunch of ankle tackles. And I think he'll be good. But if I had to guess, I just don't think he's worth the number 4 pick.
Oh, man. It's a lot.
I don't know.
It's a lot to digest.
It is. And again, I would love it if he could come in and be a force. I mean, who was the last guy in the Giants defense that you really just felt like was a one-man wrecking crew? I mean, I have, in my mind, JPP's first or second year in the league, you felt like, wow, this guy's, kind of like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was the last one that I could think of.
He's the last one I could think of, and that was kind of short-lived. But I know, you know what? With Judge talking about we just want athletes, and with the D coordinators saying we want people to play different positions, and Simmons fits that bill. So it could happen. But I don't know. I think I probably would just go with an offensive tackle. You need a good left tackle for Jones. I think I would just do it, whether it's Thomas or Wirfs or Wills or whoever you have up there. And then,
right.
But we both kind of want to trade back, right?
Not too far back, but yeah, I would.
What's your scenario for that? What teams do you think we could potentially get that going with?
I mean, it would be easiest with Miami, right? Because they have multiple picks.
But they're not going to trade multiple picks to move up one spot to a team that's not taking a quarterback anyway.
Yeah, no, that would be the easiest one.
Right.
But I'm still chewing on the Isaiah Simmons. I don't know. And let me backtrack. If it's not Simmons and they do go with a wide receiver, there's that rocket again. What is that?
I didn't hear it that time.
Is Judy such a he's the same type of receiver. He's like what, 6'1", 6'2", maybe?
6'1".
It's like we got it's not like a groundbreaking 6'4" guy. No, typical number 1 receiver. I mean, you're not going to find like a plaque. That's what everyone's been trying to get. A guy with like amazing range. That could snag any ball out of the air, just based on like height and ability.
Yeah, I'd have to say. I mean, Judy is the most. I'm not a college scout, but he's the most talked about wide receiver that I've heard about in a while. Like I said, he's so good with the ball. His hands, he had 2 big drops, huge drops against LSU in that huge game during the year, which really it took me from thinking he was a 10 to thinking he was a 9. But I still think ultimately he's so quick. He's so fast. Like I said, he plays bigger than he is. He looks taller and he can do, he can do things I don't think anyone else in the country can do. I do think he's a true number 1. But no, I don't think.
Having said that, when they drafted Odell, I wanted Mike Evans, and I was like, oh, Mike Evans, look at him, the body type, that's the type of wide receiver that you really want. Odell's good, but we have Victor Cruz in the slot, stuff like that. I was like, why are we getting a slot receiver? I was proven wrong.
Yeah. I mean, but 6'1's fine. I mean, you look at guys like Odell and Antonio Brown, and I don't know how tall Hopkins is, but really, they're not the. You've seen more of that. 10 years ago, it was T.O. and it was Calvin Johnson.
Johnson,
these guys that were 6'2", 6'3" plus. But I think 6'1"
is all right.
is kind of where it's at. Yeah, positions are kind of changing sizes all the time now, right? Especially with a lot of these shorter passes. I think a lot of the dink and dunk you're seeing kind of, and also, you know what it is, dude? Like, you know, quarterbacks nowadays, right? They're breaking out of the pocket so much more that it's more coveted if you can have a guy that can get open when Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes or these guys break free.
Mm-hmm.
I think last year or 2 years ago was the first time ever that I think it was the first time more passes were completed out of the pocket than within the pocket. I think
did that happen? Oh, I missed that one.
It was either that or a higher quarterback completion percentage. But either
Outside?
way, yeah, the game's moving out of the pocket. So I think that's where those guys become so valuable, the guys that can get open. So, but we shouldn't discuss Judy. I mean, I think, you know, the other guy is Lamb, yeah. But, you know, I'm more of a Judy fan, but I don't think the Giants will. I got scared when two of my favorite prognosticators said they were going to take Judy. And, yeah, it would be exciting, but I guess the naysayers say, like, show me one stat that says that a star wide receiver leads the championships. You know what I mean?
As a Giants fan, if they go up there and take an offensive tackle, it is probably the worst. It might be the right pick, but you're like, oh,
it's so boring.
So boring. So dry. It's like, oh, great. You pick the guy who can block.
Dude, it's so funny. As I'm getting older, I'm appreciating it more, but you're so right. When you get an offensive tackle, you look like put it this way. When they took Saquon, even if you thought it was the wrong pick, we were all like, oh, man, we got this star on the team now. People are going to be showing our highlights for once on the Sports Center, and, like, jerseys are going to be getting sold. You know, it's like you're looking like the Brickshaw Ferguson for the Jets. Like, he was, like, such a great pick and pickup and everything, but there's not really, like, no one's going to go crazy screaming and pouring beer on their head if you take Andrew Thomas. You know what I mean?
No sizzle there whatsoever.
No. But if there's going to be sizzle for a left tackle, it has to be there's no more exciting time to take, realistically, there's no more exciting scenario and situation to take a left tackle than the situation the Giants are in right now with two factors. One, your left tackles have been bad for a while. And two, you have a second-year quarterback who showed promise without a left tackle.
Yeah.
So if they did get a tackle right now, it would be like, hey, this is awesome. Maybe Jones can be really well protected for the next better part of the decade, and we can, you know, exponentially increase our offensive production. You know what I mean? So, but you're absolutely right. It's like eating your vegetables. You know, it's like, yeah, it's good for you, but I'm not feeling anything. There's no rocket launches coming from Marco's playroom, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And you take Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, there's nothing of excitement at that point.
But it's interesting with the offensive tackles because, you know, for those people who might not know as much college football, you know, there's a few guys being talked about. Some of them are right tackles. I think Jedrick Wills, I think from Alabama, is a right tackle. So it's like you always run the risk of moving him to the left side, and you want a left side because obviously it's the blind side of a right-handed quarterback.
Right.
And
sure.
The big two names we've been hearing a ton are Tristan Wirfs from Iowa and Andrew Thomas from Georgia. And I've actually nerded out a little bit and watched tape on these guys, and I prefer Thomas. He's very aggressive. He loves contact. He's got long arms, and you know, I don't know if he does anything great, but he just does everything really well. He's got good footwork. He's got good awareness. And like I said, I love that on every play, he's really trying to drive people and drive them into the ground. Wirfs supposedly is like the strongest guy in the country, and he's going to blow people away at the combine with his power. When I watch him play, I know sometimes they play more of a zone, but he doesn't really, you know, every 3 plays or so. What's up?
You didn't see the power?
No, I see the power. It's just he's not always putting a hat on somebody. He blocks when he has to block, but then those other times he kind of just, I feel like, can take some plays off. But I mentioned that on Twitter once, and I got destroyed by Iowa fans. And they play a zone. What do you know? I'm like, all right, listen. I played football. I was a tight end. You're on the offensive line. Like, no matter what you're playing, you could always make contact if you want to on a football field. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, whoever they go with, I think that would be safe. And I would be cool with them taking a DN like Epinesa, but they're not going to run a 4-3, so it doesn't really make sense. What do you think about a corner? Would you, let's say Ohio State,
Okuda?
Okuda, right? Let's say this guy's legit. What are your feelings on these new age analytic guys that are like take a corner right away? What do you got on that?
Supposedly he's going to be like the next coming. So.
Right.
I looked at some film for him, but and yeah, he looks great. But I don't I'm not the biggest college guy. I don't see him day in and day out.
But let's say he is that. Let's say he is the next shutdown corner. Would you take that at 4 with this Giants team with their needs? How do you feel about their secondary right now, and what would you feel about them taking a corner? If someone said he'll be a Pro Bowl corner, every other year for the next 8 seasons for you, would you be like, all right, let's take him 4th?
If that's the end result, yeah, I would take him.
Yeah. Okay.
If you tell me we're getting an all-pro Pro Bowler like year in, year out, or like someone dominant, yeah, then 4 is worth it.
Right.
Because in my mind, you need a quarterback. You need someone to protect the quarterback. You need someone to pass rush and someone to defend. Those are if you're picking within the top 5, those are the 4 positions that you can draft.
Right.
Not a running back, not a wide receiver. I think that's I don't know. I'm gonna look a little bit more into him in a little bit.
So rank for me right now, if you had your way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take. Well, yeah, we'll keep Chase Young. All right. Well, what would your top 3 prospects be for them to take right now if you had your way? Number 1 scenario is what? Chase
Young.
Okay.
I would go Simmons.
Okay. And I'm proud of you for standing your ground, by the way, because I might have no clue what the hell I'm talking about. It's just my feeling. And he had a great national championship, by the way. He had a great national championship. I'm just afraid that it's just the schemes and the college teams just didn't know, where is he on this play, that play, and that in the NFL, it's not really going to matter.
Might not translate. And probably Thomas. I think those are the 3 biggest needs. Baker was supposed to be like a dominant corner, so maybe that does happen.
What do you say?
DeAndre Baker was supposed to be a dominant corner, and
right.
Maybe that does actually wind up happening. But I think all the people that we mentioned I could see going to the Giants, and I would be okay with it if they don't trade down.
Isn't it interesting how many team needs they have that your top 3, there's not like 3 edges or 3 safeties or 3 offensive line. You're like, I'll either take the pass rush we don't have, the offensive line we don't have, or the linebacker we don't have. Right. But you say Gettleman is a bad GM and people go crazy. Well,
he could draft. Everyone had a sophomore slump last year. Everyone.
That's right. Last time you and I spoke, we had a lot of Gettleman defenders. So what's the line? What's my line about Gettleman?
I can't remember it off the top of my head now.
No, it's not like no, it's just my theory on him. He drafts very good players. He just doesn't draft the right players.
Yeah, correct.
That's my thing on him. So people always look at him and they always go, well, you can't fault Gettleman. This guy's having a good year, and that guy's turned out to be good. Yeah, that's great. But where does the team go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to remember that for next week, definitely.
I have it tattooed on my lower back, actually. So.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
How do we want to close this out? You have any parting words of wisdom?
Parting words of wisdom. Yeah, don't listen to anything I just said.
On next week's episode, we will contradict everything we said this week, so it makes,
I don't know, man. When's all right, so let's end on a little Tua note here. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think he should go? Where do you think he will go? And would you trust him? Where would you have to pick if you needed a quarterback?
I wouldn't take him.
You wouldn't. What if you need a quarterback and it's the 2nd round and he's still on the board?
Oh man, 2nd round, and you needed a quarterback?
Yeah.
I think 2nd round. I've seen people. I mean, look, the Giants give away 3rd round picks like it's
oh my God.
Halloween candy at on Halloween, But second round pick if you're
that is when Halloween candy tends to go. Halloween candy tends to go on Halloween, not other holidays. Well, I know where you're going with that one.
Sometimes you get a really good sale after Halloween when they just have to get rid of.
This is true. I'm part Greek. I'm like 10 different nationalities. I'm part Greek, and so we celebrate Greek Easter, which is a lot of times it's
a week after, right?
A week after, and so we just, the Cadbury bunny, all this stuff is just like 10 cents a pop, and it's just, it's murder.
So, yeah, if I was a GM, I would be worried. This guy seems to be fragile, amazingly talented, but fragile.
Right. So where's he going to go, though? You think he's going Miami? Everyone's got him going Miami at 5.
I know. I see people thinking he's going to go. I was surprised thinking he's going to go top 10. I was like, top 10, really?
Yeah.
Didn't he have like a hip replacement upon a knee, upon an ankle, upon a foot?
2 ankles and a hip.
But I saw him do an interview the other day, and he looked good. He looked in shape, and it's not like he looked all disheveled or anything like that. Right. No, I go ahead. And personality-wise, his interview versus the Joe Burrow one, I would take Tua. He seems more. He seems more of a type of player I would like.
I think that, and I said this when he got hurt, because people are always, we do it as human beings. When something happens, we have like some kind of emotional freak out, and then we just lose perspective. And then I said the second he got hurt, and everyone's like, that's it, it's over. And I was kind of proud of myself. I said, look, it looks like that now. But if by the time the combine comes around or whatever it is, if he's in good shape or he has a pro day and he's got, the tight clothes that these guys wear and he looks impressive and he makes, quote unquote, what they love to say, he made all the throws. People will completely forget about that stuff, and they'll just look and be like, oh man, it's Tua. Remember all the good things that he did. And 80% of that injury stuff all of a sudden goes out the window when you see the product in front of you. And, if you want to think good thoughts about somebody, you can. So if you need a quarterback, sometimes you see it with rose-colored glasses. So, it'll be interesting. But him getting hurt certainly did not help the Giants.
No, because that would have pushed a lot of people down. And
if he stays healthy, it's him and Tua probably go 1-2 to the point where the Redskins, honestly, with some of their new personnel and the way Haskins looked a little shaky, it's possible they pull a Josh Rosen scenario and pick Tua.
The quarterback.
Yeah, it's possible. More and more people are open to that now, saying forget who you have. If you think some guy's the answer, then get him. And then all of a sudden, things are different. But anyway, so
we are going to end on that note.
Yes, sir.
We wanted to give you 20. We're giving you 40, so you're getting double your enjoyment over here.
Double the nonsense.
All right. So everyone, if they haven't done so already, subscribe, follow, do all what you got to do. And Marco over here, and Will Presty at Will Presty on Twitter, right?
That's true. And, I got to give a shameless plug to my memorabilia company that I work at, CXstuff.com.
Yeah.
You always let me do it. We have all sorts. So we got Tua jerseys, I think. We got all these guys we're talking about. We got Saquon. You go on the site. We got all sorts of cool stuff, the coolest collection on the internet. So
check it out. Check
it out. And Marco, you're starring in a movie coming out soon, right?
Am I?
You wanted to talk about that? Yeah.
What movie am I starring in?
I had no ending to this whatsoever. I don't know. Rocket Man.
How did you know?
All right, buddy.
All right. Talk to everyone later. Will, thank you very much. And